All right, well, I think it's time to get this thing finished up, don't you? It's been a long time. We waited almost a year just for the paintwork on the two tributes, and then I've had a bunch of stumbles and whatnot since we picked them up, but we're gonna go ahead and get this done today. But before we get to that, what I wanted to do is show you guys a little idea I had. So every time I solder, this is about the best I can do to keep the guitar protected. Now these here are real soldering mats made out of a high temp silicone. Before I purchased these, I bought these. Actually, my wife did. And what these are, they're like a flexible pan. You're supposed to be able to put them in your grill. We have a pellet grill. And we were going to try to use these in there for vegetables, stuff like that. We never got to it. And then I came up with the idea that if they're good enough for a grill, they should be good enough for a, better turn that on, hot soldering soldering iron, or, you know, hot solder dropping down on it. So what I'm going to do is I cheated. I took Chug over there, the little white guitar, and I put some marks here where the cavity cover ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this here, we're going to trace it out, and then I'm going to cut it out, and I guess we'll just set you over here, and then I'm going to put it here and try to use it as a shield, and then I'll always have this when I need to do a guitar with cavity covers. Now the one thing I did notice is this has like a anti-stick Teflon to it, so the marker isn't really staying on there too great. But anyhow, we got to get this stuff opened. Oh my lord, I can't wait till we get that done. It's just in the way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to poke a hole through it like so. And we're going to go ahead and cut this out right on the line. And we're going to see if this works or not. It should. And the plan B is just be careful, like I always had. But when you have a $750 paint job, the last thing you want to do is get it screwed up before it's finished. So I figured, you know, now's the good time. It would have been a better time to do it before I did the other tribute, but nonetheless, here we go. We now have a cavity cover hole. So my plan is to take these, set them aside for a second, feed all this wiring through like so, and then just to keep it from shifting around. And I also, if you noticed, I put this kind of off into the corner so it would drape around and protect the edges of the guitar as well. So I'm just going to take two little pieces of tape, if I don't screw this up. I'm going to put one there and one right there. And then we're going to go ahead and take our silicone mats and cover up the rest of this thing, just so we don't have any accidents. There. That makes me feel much better about soldering. So now once this heats up, I should have turned that on. I am such a dummy sometimes. I didn't practice my 6 Ps again. If you guys are wondering what that is, prior planning prevents piss poor performance. So don't forget that. Practice your 6 Ps. Let me just get a couple things together here and we'll move on and talk about something else while that is heating up. So on this diagram, let me get over here so I can show you. So this is your basic 50s wiring diagram. And if you guys are unsure, or how do I say this, not really confident like I was when I first started doing this, this is a good thing just to lay down for reference. So you just find something on the internet, print it out. This actually came with a set of pots and stuff that I had, and this was the wiring diagram to it. So it came with all the pots, capacitors, input jack, all that stuff, and you had to wire it yourself. So I just copied this a few times, so I had extra sets. But anyhow, going on here, you can see that this is your neck pickup. So what I did is I just put a little bit of red on that one, a little bit of black on the bridge. Okay, and then you know that the center wire is your input jack. It's not colored, because what happens when you put the input jack in and then you get these wires fished down through there, sometimes you can get away with putting a piece of tape on it. What I do is I just feed them in there, and as I push it in there, if it stops, I just give it a couple twists and then wiggle it in and out, and all the wires feed through. But then you don't know which is which. At least on the three-way switch, you don't know which wire goes to what pot. The pickups are self-explanatory, because your neck pickup is always going to be shorter than your bridge pickup. Okay, you know that the input jack is longer than the 2 volume ones, so that's a no-brainer. So you always have to mark your pickups. So what I did is I took a Sharpie and I colored black on the end of this one and red on the end of that one. So if I forgot, just go back to my list there, and I know that my neck pickup is red. So that's an easy way of not losing track of that kind of stuff. So what we have to do today is get both of these pickups soldered in, both of the volume controls, this ground, the input jack, and obviously when we put the pickups on, that's going to finish out these caps here. So while that's warming up, let's go ahead and start stripping. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and get these. So the bridge is going to be the longest pickup, and then you're going to need the black wire. So let's get these two together, because we know they're going to go down here to this bottom pot for the bridge, and then we have your neck pickup, neck volume. We're going to go ahead and put a piece of tape around these, and that's going to keep us from having them in our way. All right, where did it go? All right, here's bridge. Yeah, I'm fumbling around here. Just have patience. All right, so longest pickup wire is the bridge. Black wire is the bridge. We'll go ahead and just tape those down out of the way. And we'll do the same thing with the other one here. So we have red for neck, and then we have the shorter pickup wire for neck. Let's go ahead and tape those out of the way. And what we'll do is we'll start working on the input jack. So what I have here is a Tone Pro, and this has the dual contact on it. Some people love them, some people hate them. I can go either way. I like the vintage style, and I like these. You just have to be careful when soldering onto these things that you don't solder to the wrong eyelet. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and prep this wire so we can solder that up. And I will be using the leaded solder. So anytime I do vintage 50s style wiring, I like to try to stay period correct, and I use the leaded solder. I do have the lead free. I use that on other things as well, but I typically try to stick to period correct stuff when I'm doing this. So let's go ahead and get this. What I usually do here is I take and I start to cut back the pushback wire. Let me see, can you guys see this? No, you can't see through my hands. Let's bring you in here and I'll try to watch this as well, so then you can see what's going on. Alright, so what I do here is I just damage the wire and I cut through it for a ways back. And then once that's damaged out like that, and you can start to peel it back, you'll see there's a few more you're going to get. There may be an easier way about going about this, but this is how I do it. As soon as I can get that wire out, I'm going to grab my little needle nose. My fingers are so fat I can't get a hold of the wire there. There we go. So now I'll just set that aside, brush the little things out of the way there. I'm just going to get this pushback wire back a little bit more. I could have just pushed it back, but what that does is it bunches it up here. It makes the wire look real fat. So I personally like to trim away as much as I can and just instead of shoving it back and making the wire all fat. So once you get that all trimmed out, now we can just push back the black wire. I'm going to go ahead and get a hold of that. Pull it out. Now again, if you're uncertain about where your ground goes and everything, all you got to do is look at this and you can see that the ground actually goes to the center ring. Alright, so that will be this one right here, and then the end of the cloth wire goes to the outer ring, so that's going to go to this one right here. So you always do, at least I do this one first. It should go this way because then I can get the ground. Now, it'd be wise of me to go ahead and clip this. And that'll hold it there for me to get solder in it. So now let's hope that this is hot enough. I guess I could test a little spot over here. Is it hot enough? Yep, it's hot enough. Let's clean that tip off. Now I'm going to go up under to the back side of it. Eventually it'll get hot enough. I'm having a hard time holding it down, keeping pressure on it. So I'm not using the metal base that holds this. Let me get some heat in it there. Alright, well that's not working out there, so let's go back to the top here. Alright, so there's that one. I'm going to clean this tip off again. So now what we're going to do is let go of that. And then we're going to pull this around this way. And now the fun part is to solder this to that tab. If I can get my clamp in there. Alright, so that should work there. I'll remove the alligator clip once I get a little bit of solder on this. Alright, clean the tip again. Let's remove this alligator clip from here. And then I'm going to stick it in the end of it just so I can check this connection real good. Yep, I'm going to get a little bit more down here on the bottom. Let's see if I can turn that and show you guys. So right there, I want to get just a little bit more on that. It's actually probably good the way it is, but I would rather be safe than sorry and have to worry about it later and figure out why it's not working. Alright, so I'd say that looks pretty acceptable. So now the next step on this oh, you know what I just screwed up, you guys. It's not that big a deal, but I should have put I don't know why I didn't do it. I should have put a piece of shrink tubing on here. It really doesn't matter because all this is ground, but you just don't want this touching here or here, and which it won't by the time I get it in there. But yeah, that kind of sucks. I should have put this on there. So again, 6 P's, prior planning prevents poor performance. I'm making good examples of not practicing the 6 P's. I'm just removing that nut now, so it makes it easier later. So I'm just gonna tuck that down in there for now. All right, let's move on. I guess we'll do, let's do the bridge. It's right here. So, again, if you not sure, you can reference back to where you're supposed to put everything. So if you follow your pickup wire goes right there to the center, and your pickup itself goes over here to the cap. So we know that this is the volume one and this is the pickup one, and since it's already stripped, we'll start with that one. I don't trim the wire back. A lot of people will cut the wire off and make it shorter. I just prefer to stuff the wire back up in there when I'm done, the extra, in case you ever want to take the pickups out or anything like that. Then you don't have short leads, and then you can just trim this end off and you got a nice fresh wire again. So that's what I like to do with those. So this right here we are going to be putting in with this cap. So however you can get this in there, this is where it starts to become a little bit of a pain in the butt, because you're trying to work inside the cavity. And I'm not worried about too much of it sticking out or anything like that right now, because you're just trying to get it soldered on there. You can nip the ends off. Alright. If I can just get the wire to stay there, this is the trick. Let me grab an alligator clip and see if the weight of that can hold it here for a second. Alright. Hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Let me get it adjusted here. So, as you can see, I have the pickup wire right here coming through. We'll just bend it a little bit, and then here's the pot wire. So once we solder this all up, we'll be able to trim the excess off of that. So just gonna go down here and get this hot. I'll start to drizzle some solder in there, and I think that might be good. Let me pull the pushback wire back. Where's my needle nose? Just make sure it's got a good connection. Yeah, I'm going to go to the back side of it a little bit and just heat that up. Drop just a smidgen behind it. Right there. Alright, so now that's soldered. We need to get this wire out of the way. Again, kind of a pain in the butt because I'm trying to shove it into this hole. Alright. So now the next trick here is trim this stuff off. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this. And we'll trim the end of that. When you cut through, don't let go because it will drop the little frayed ends down in your pot cavity, wherever they are. There they are. So just try to catch those. Don't let go of your cutters until you're out of the cavity. Now this is going to be in our way for that control there. So now we got to solder this wire down. And this is the part where if you screw it up, it looks awful. Because you can overdo it with the solder. I will adjust that wire later. I'm just trying to get it to stay in place. It's being non-compliant. I don't want to use the cutters, I want to use the needle knives. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to put some weight on it with these alligator clips. Yeah, don't really like that. I think I'm going to have to just do this cowboy style. Let's get this out of the way. We're going to have to put a little goober there. Just a little bit, so we can start to get this to stick. Oh, it's too hot to touch. I normally don't have this much trouble. It's because I'm filming it. I just can't get that to stick. Normally I can just stick it on there real quick. Yeah, and get enough to make it stick, and then I can come back here and fix it up. I don't like them frayed ends. Drives me nuts. Doesn't look clean. Then my other problem is I shake like the last leaf on an autumn tree because of my medication, so this makes it more frustrating. And see, I just heated that up and it popped it out, and I want it to look good. Alright, try to put some more on this side. This isn't looking the way I want it to. And there we go again, pop off. Just fumbling around today, my lord. Okay. I think that's acceptable. I don't like these little frayed ends here on the end. I'll see about trimming them off later. I'm gonna clean the tip off. Alright, so here we go again. We have the bridge pickup coming down and going to the capacitor right here. So now the next one we got to do is the volume control, or the three-way switch to the volume control. And that will be this black one right here. So again, we're just going to trim back. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. We'll trim back this wire here. Alright. A little bit more because I don't like it bunching up. Before I trim it, this is what I usually do, is I try to twist it so when you cut it off the frays aren't sticking out, but after all that screwing around with that. Alright, now pull the wire out of the cloth. Make sure it's got a good twist. Get it down in to that eyelet. And just give it a little tiny bend so it don't pull out on you. Oh, one of the wires didn't go through. That drives me nuts. All right. And those are just coming untaped. All right. So let's go ahead and solder up that now. A little bit more in there. I don't like seeing the hole. There we go. The hole is filled. Just make it look pretty. All right. Clean your tip. Next one, ground. Try to adjust that wire a little bit. All right, now this one. Shove it in there. Gotta ground that. I think that's acceptable. Yeah, a little touch more. And then I like to try to take the solder gun and make it look good, but sometimes that's a little hard. Oh, see, I just messed up. I made it. Alright, I'm going to stop while I'm ahead, because I got a goober on there and I need to, that's driving me nuts, I need to fix it. Where is the desoldering wire? Right here. Try to suck some of this up. Got a little zealous there, overzealous. Weighed it down a little too thick. And the desoldering wire isn't working the greatest either. Look at that. That sucks. Alright, I'm going to leave that alone while I'm ahead. Let's bend this down where it needs to be now. Okay. One more. This gets that extra ground. I'll do that first. Try to keep it out of the way there. I'm going to trim this one end off. It's got pretty yucky goober on it. Alright. Just give this a little bend so it'll stay against the pot. And go ahead and stick it right to this ground here. Done. All right. Pickup. This one's already prepared. And the pickup goes to the capacitor. Again, you're unsure, always check your page. So here's your capacitor, you follow that up. Here's your pickup. Almost put that in the wrong one there. All right. Get this soldered in. And that looks good. Holes filled. And cutters. Cutters are right here. We'll trim off this cap. And that all looks good there. Stuff this wire in, and then we're going to roll it around like so, and I'm going to do the ground with this one. So now we need to trim back the wire. This is the 3-way switch that's got to go to the volume pot. And tape stuck to me. All right. We're getting there. But see, this is why I haven't been filming this kind of stuff, because it takes time. And this is the way it goes, and I don't edit things out. I figure if it gets real boring, you can fast forward, right? Alright, so let's get this pushed back out. And this one's going to the center lug. Give it just a little bit of a bend. Time to solder this one. A little bit more. Again, I don't like the hole. There we go. Clean your tip. Alright, so now all we have left are these grounds. Okay. Almost. I like to smooth it out as best I can so it looks good. Put just a smidge right there, connect those two. Alright. Get that then over here. Now all we gotta do is get this input jack mounted to the I can't even think right now. Into the mounting plate, the input jack plate. So we got to get this on. And then that's pretty much it. We can get this thing closed up. So I am a little unhappy with this one. I bumped it a little too much and put a little too much solder there. No big deal because that's the grounding lug and whatnot. But so I am very unhappy with that one. I may try to clean that up a little bit more once I get this stuff off of it and I can maneuver it around. I'm probably going to clean that up, so stay tuned for that. I'll show you guys. So there it is. We got your pots and your 3-way switch, your pickups, input jack. Everything's all soldered up and ready to go. So the next episode we will be putting the, oh man, I just cannot think today. Some cavity covers. We'll close it up. We'll put the new cavity covers on. I did order the brand new Gibson, in a Gibson package, reflector knobs for you guys since these ones didn't fit. I did get brand new strap locks. I figured by the time you bought the screws and everything, you might as well just had bought the strap locks with it. So I do have strap locks coming. What else? After we get this finished and buttoned up, we'll be starting fender projects. We're gonna hold on Chug. So let's see here. And that's what it looks like. Again, I'm a little disappointed in that lump that I got there. So this is what I was wanting to do. I figure I'll show you guys if I can heat it up and make it run down so it don't look so bad. There we go. You got to be really careful when you're laying the solder on. I don't know if you guys see how I go real fast with the solder and I just barely touch it because you can melt it into a big puddle really quick without realizing it. And I think I'm happy with that. I just needed to get it laid up on an angle. It still looks bad because I got too much solder there, but that's a lot better. I got to melt the pile down into the wires there. And I still may monkey with it a little bit more. I don't know. But there you guys go. We're getting close to it. It's almost done. We'll change these out. I did get the thumb bleeders on it. I forgot to mention that the other day. I just stuck these on there because I know that these are OEM Gibson. These are the real authentic ones, and I wanted to make sure that they fit because I was not getting these to go on for nothing. And when I did get it to go on, they were kind of wobbly and it would collapse these, so I'd have to stick a screwdriver back in it to spread them out. So I'm like, it's not worth ruining anything over some cheap caps because I didn't know exactly where those ones came from. And I know where these ones come from. So we will definitely not put those in my Gibson parts bin because they don't fit. All right, guys, so I'm sorry if this was a boring video. 38 minutes in. It just takes time to do this kind of stuff. I am not professional. This is my hobby, and I'm doing this for you guys and just for some fun. And this is it. I'm just an amateur, so if you guys are at home and you're nervous to try to do something like this, don't be. Just jump in and do it. The worst case scenario is you get a little goober or something. I mean, you're never going to see it, and it's going to work 110% just the way it should. But what I might do with this, since I didn't put the grounding shield on it, is once I put the input jack plate on and get it mounted, I may just hold this down here and just put a little dot of solder on it just so it don't ever move. I probably won't, you know what I mean? But since I didn't put that on there, I may just put a little dot right there where you're supposed to screw the ground down. Just put a little dot solder to hold it down. I don't know. We'll see how it acts once I get the plate in there. So it's getting close, guys. Almost done with your tribute build, and it is looking really, really good. I think that it's just coming out amazing. I really like the color. I think all of you guys that picked blue definitely hit it on the head there. It definitely needed to be blue, but Tony Roberts is the exact color winner for the electric blue. And that did come out just amazing. So, all right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching at 40 minutes in, I had requests to just show you guys what I do. So I'm doing it. And I'm not going to edit it out and shorten it up. This is what it is, and I'm sorry if it took too long. Till then, please like and subscribe.